retirement capital of the world where they play golf all day, Arizona. I feel like Arizona is pretty easy. They kind of cut and dry. They don't have a lot of big names. Number one on everybody's list should be Marv. Should be Marv. I don't see how it can't be Marv. I'm a Kyle Murray fan. Kyler, I'm sorry. But it's got to be Marv. Generation talent. Probably what? Best. I don't know. That's tough because Chase was there. What do you rank him as the receiver as like coming out of the draft in the last decade?
Julio, Chase.
Yeah, I was about to say there's some names in the last decade, right?
Yeah.
Jefferson.
He's in that freak of nature category where, certain teams, if he were to start to fall, would have moved mountains to go up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He's a wide receiver robot. That's just the dude is just built, and mentally too. He's extremely driven. But no, I actually have Kyler Murray as my number one player. Marv's 2.
You think Murray's better than Hart? Obviously we're looking at.
The question is not that. The question is the most important to the team. Who are the most important players on the team? And Kyler Murray can't throw the ball to him. Marvin Harrison Jr. cannot throw the ball to himself. So he could be wide open every play, but if Zach Wilson's throwing you the ball, you don't have much going for you.
How long has Murray been in the league? We're going on 4 years, 5 years?
What was he 18? First overall pick in 18 or 19? Kyler Murray was the first overall pick in 19.
19. So we're going on his 6th year.
Yep.
6th year. When was Kyler good? First couple years? That's really it, right? Last couple years he's been hurt. He's getting banged up. Obviously his team has gotten worse.
Kyler's they don't have a lot to work with. He got hurt. I don't like to speak on a guy that got hurt. You can't, let's see how
part of the game, baby.
What's that?
It's part of the game.
Oh yeah.
Part of the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. It's just right after that, it's like the same thing with Rodgers. Like Rodgers is the most important player until he shows me otherwise. If you get hurt, you can't come back. I'll always give a player a chance to come back from injury. But there's some dudes that just straight up change. Look what happened to Todd Gurley, which was a looming.
But Gurley was crazy though. Gurley was like a genetic thing, right? Gurley was like a freaky thing, like his knees,
knee stuff. Yeah,
yeah, like he was different.
It was a looming issue for time, but it's. I don't know. I just think that the Cardinals are only going to go as far as him and Marvin take them. Now, player 3 though is I've got Paris Johnson Jr., another Buckeye. He's your most talented tackle, man. They've got they've got to kind of they need him to really take a step and start to be the anchor of that offensive line. They signed Jonah Williams this offseason. He's just basically on a 2-year tryout contract. Same draft as Kyler Murray, pick 11, I believe, Cincinnati. He's had injury troubles. He was a stud coming out of Alabama. So
yeah, I was about to say I remember him. He was a stud.
Yeah, but he had really bad injury problems. But again, if he can stay healthy, we'll see. But the Arizona Cardinals need Paris Johnson Jr. to develop as a premier tackle, considering the draft capital they spent on him and so on.
Yeah. I don't know about that one. I got Buddha.
Buddha?
Yeah, I got Buddha Baker as my number 3.
All right. Well, let's talk about why Buddha Baker is not in the top 4, but he's an honorable mention. Buddha Baker is playing for 0 guaranteed money this year.
So what are you saying? He has no?
There's 0 guarantees. The cap savings cut. Let's see a post. Basically, they would save $15.1 million if they cut it.
So hold on, let me just take a step back. So you're saying, because remember the question is the most important players to the team.
Mm-hmm.
and because he has zero contract, and I remember this
Zero
conversation.
guaranteed salary.
Yeah, I'm sorry, zero
Yeah, he's a
guaranteed.
$19 million cap hit, but he has zero guaranteed salary. So there's zero cash allocated to him. Costs
Right.
the team nothing.
You're saying because of the cap, he's obvious. Well, he's not.
The
I don't know what
team
their
is
cap.
telling
Where's
me
their
the
where's
contract.
their cap at? Like, they can't. He's 20 million against the dead. The
No. The cap doesn't. The cap number is not really a big deal. It's how much guaranteed money that player gets for the season, and that's how they work around the owner's cash. So
But you said dead money, right? He's 19 against the cap.
no,
If they cut him,
his guaranteed salary this year is $0. His cap
yeah,
number, and this is according to Over the Cap. So there's going to be discrepancies and little nuances
for
that we
sure.
don't have access to. Cap number of 19.025 million. That's 7.1% of their total salary cap. Now, the dead money and cap savings, if they were to cut or trade the player, would be 3.925 in dead
Okay,
money, and then
my bad.
15.1 million in savings.
I,
So
th-
they
I
would,
thought I thought it was 19 against in dead
no, no,
money.
no, no, no,
Okay,
no.
okay,
But
okay.
Buddha, I think Buddha is a possible trade candidate. That's why I just kind of have him in a little bit of a gray area. He could play out the year. He's set to become an unrestricted free agent next offseason. He's 28. Um, he's a good football player, man. He's just stuck in a bad place, and if they're willing to give him some money, then he's gonna keep doing what he does. I kind of want to see how he handles this season.
You could convince me about Paris Johnson a little bit there, being on the list just because they need him as if you're talking about important pieces to the pie because he's your left tackle. But when I look at this defense, I mean, Buddhist to me is still the leader of this defense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What so to me, Buddha belongs on this list because of the veteran presence. I mean, he's been here his whole career, right? He was drafted by yeah,
Yeah.
he was
He's been there
drafted
the whole
by
time.
them. Yeah, he was drafted by them second round, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of years no, a while ago. He's been in the league for a little bit. So still got some juice in the tank. I think, like you said, unfortunately on a bad team. So that's hard to play for. But without a doubt, to me, if he's on the field, he's the most important player on the defense of side of the ball.
Yeah, I'd say so. I just from the front office perspective and what we have invested in the player, like someone comes a knocking looking for a safety come training camp, and they may or may not have a decent pick to offer, then
Yeah. Until we trade him, he's lining up.
no, they could extend the player. There's
Oh, they
always that too.
yeah.
They
There's
could
always that
extend the
too.
player. So it's
There's
going to
that.
be kind of curious. He's not a wide receiver right now amidst all the nonsense, which we obviously have to touch at some point in the show. But yeah, I just think that like it's kind of a not really talked about thing because he's a really good player on a bad football team.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's an interesting note. If there's anything to take away from Arizona, is they've got some positivity and youth, and then they've got a guy in Buda Baker who they've kind of got to decide how much money they want to have invested into a safety.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean, they overachieved, I think, a little bit defensively last year.
Yeah.
And I think that's more of a Gannon thing, scheme thing. And Gannon will learn his players. I'm interested in your number 4 because I want to scratch off what I already have. Let me ask you this: offense or defense for your number 4?
Offense.
That's got to be McBride.
What's that?
Is it McBride?
No, it's
Oh, really?
no, it's Jonah Williams.
It's Jonah Williams.
Yeah, they gave him a lot of money. Excuse me if I may have said he was an honorable mention earlier. I don't think he was. Him and Buddha I was kind of going back and forth, and then I started looking at the money and what they kind of need Jonah to be. They invested in him, so it's from the front office perspective. We need a lot out of this player. Like we think he's going to stay healthy, and we think he's going to give us 15, 16 games. You know what I mean?
Did they really give him a lot of money? Was it like 50? I think I was looking at his contract, 50, 60 million or something like that.
I don't know exactly how they structured it, the guaranteed, but he signed there's a 2-year, $30 million with 21.5 guaranteed.
Okay.
19 of which is fully guaranteed at signing. And basically, if he's on the roster on the 5th day of the 2025 league year, Williams will earn an additional $2.5 million in guarantees, along with a $1.5 million roster bonus. Just what that's saying is that he costs $4 million to them if he works out and he stays healthy for the team.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not on you on that one.
They don't have a lot, man. I mean, you could put.
Yeah, they don't.
I mean,
I'm
you
a.
could put James Conner there if you wanted to put like.
He's washed.
I mean,
He's good. He's a utility
he's
guy.
RB2 in a
Yeah,
12-man
I
fantasy
would.
league.
I thought McBride was there, but then I was like, by just default, he had so much usage last year because they didn't have anybody to throw to last year. But I mean, he still showed up.
Defensive player they need a lot out of this year is Zaven Collins. They picked him pretty high, the linebacker out of Tulsa.